Goodness, was anybody else surprised about this move on SPY? I knew eventually it would move back up, but I didn't think it was going to move up this fast. SPY has just been amazing. It has been moving up for the last couple weeks, and I just cannot keep up. Hello, my friends, this is Legend. So, SPY has just been on a tear, right? It has been moving up since the end of March. It started moving up a little bit. I was trying to keep up with that call that I had, especially when it started moving up a little bit. I went ahead and sold that call on SPY because I owned those shares at 668. And when it was allowing me to sell that call at 670, I went ahead and sold that call for that 670. Well, it started moving up, and then I actually moved it from 670 to 671. And then I moved again from 671 to 675 on that strike. And today I moved it yet again because that price for SPY is $710. And I had a call at $675. Now, granted, that is above what I paid for them. So that is a win. But man, I did not want to leave that much money on the table. So I did end up rolling it even further out so that I can move that strike up. And I ended up moving that strike from 675 up to 685. All right, so that is an extra $10 move up, or a possible $1,000 price appreciation if it does close above that 685, which is the new call strike that I have after today. Now, granted, I did have to move that expiration date out from the end of next week, as that was the original expiration date. But since this thing has moved so fast and it's moved up so much, I had to roll it all the way out to mid-June to get it out to 685. Now, it is still under that price of SPY, right? $685 for that call is still under the $710 price that it's at. But if those shares are called away, then I would make the difference between the 685 to the 668, and that's $17 move or $1,700 price appreciation on top of all the premium that I've been making. Now, I don't mind those shares being taken because they are above the price that I did pay for it, and that just adds extra money into my pocket. Now, I could have left them at the 675 and let it expire next week, and if it stayed above 675, I would have sold those shares and I would have made about $700 in price appreciation on top of the premiums that I did earn. But that's just a lot of money sitting on the table, right? $675 and the current price being $710. I just could not let that much money sit on the table unaccounted for, right? I wanted a little bit more of that. So I did move it from this 675 right here, and I moved it right up to this 685. So now that's my new call. But like I said, that is out until June. I did not want to push it out that far, but I had to move it out that far to get that price up that high. So what could happen at this point? Well, if it stays above it by mid-June, then those shares will be called away, right? Unless I roll it again. If the price comes down and it comes down and breaks below this 685, then those shares will be safe and I'll keep those shares. But then I also will lose out on that price appreciation. So I'm kind of playing a fine line here. I do want to be able to sell those shares and earn that price appreciation because that's a lot of extra money that would go directly into my account, and I can use that money to buy more shares of other stocks that I may want. But in the same sense, I do not want to leave too much money sitting on the table because the difference between the 710 and 675 that it was originally is $35 or $3,500 left on the table. So by bump this up $10, now only have $2,500 left on the table. I just possibly got an extra $1,000 if those shares are called away. Now, if SPY continues to move on up, I'm not sure if I will continue to roll this up. It just really all depends on the price of SPY when it gets closer to June. But for now, it looks like I'm just going to ride this one out for a while. So I've made some good premium on it. I own the shares, and now I just have to wait it out. And hopefully it closes around this 695 or 690 around mid-June, because that could be a possible chance to be able to roll it, or to just go ahead, let those shares get taken and lock in that money. So there are several options I do have, but for the time, I'm just going to let this one ride for a little bit, as I have moved it out to June, and I didn't necessarily want to move it out that far. But like I said, I could not let that much money sit on the table when it was just begging for me to roll this call. And of course, on CRDO, it's the same situation, right? I had that 130 call and it was moving up and then it popped, right? We're sitting at 160 now, and I was able to move that strike up a couple dollars. But wow, everything that I had just popped. And even though they are all above my cost, so therefore they're all wins if they are taken away, but it is a little hard to see that much money just sitting there on the table. But it is what it is. No one could have predicted this huge pop on SPY or CRDO. But I'm not going to be hating, because both of them now have been making me good money in premium, and now possibly making some good price appreciation. The only way I could have done it better is if I would have had a crystal ball and known that I needed to wait to write that cover call for CRDO and SPY. But I do not have that crystal ball, so I will play the market that I'm presented with, and as long as I'm selling my calls above my cost, I can't lose. So I'll end up updating my options tracker this weekend, but I wanted to go ahead and just let you know where I kind of stood a little bit on SPY and CRDO, as those have just been on fire. And on a different note, I have been messing around with a new little method, and I've talked about it before. It's my RSI2, but I am trying to come up with a way that it can help me determine when's the right time to get out of a buy on the RSI2 method once I get in. And the spreadsheet that I'm trying to create will also hopefully help determine where to put my stops at. And the idea is to help me know what to do without having to necessarily watch the market all the time. Because as you know, we're all working, and it's very difficult to watch the market during the day. So a lot of times all you got is after the time you get off work, and by that time, market is closed. So it would be good if my spreadsheet could help me determine what to do and when to do it. So that's kind of what I'm trying to work on. And I'm doing a lot of back testing, trying to see if it's working like I want it to. But like everything else, nothing is perfect. But maybe on my next video, I'll show what that spreadsheet is looking like, and maybe kind of show you what I'm working on, as I think it's pretty cool, but like I said, nothing is perfect. So I just wanted to give a heads up of what's going on, where I stood on SPY and CRDO, and some of the things that I'm working on in the background. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button, as it would be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, Legend out.